episode 387. We'll be talking about 4 hours of pro wrestling action that took place on this Good Friday. WWE Friday Night Smackdown, AEW Rampage, and AEW Battle of the Belts 6. Right here, right now, 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Hey, Wrestling Fanatics. Sorry about that. Let me start over just 1 second. Made a little mistake there as usual. Hey, wrestling fans. Hey, Wrestling Fanatics. Welcome to a new episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 387. Thank you everyone for tuning in right here on Spreaker or wherever you listen to 360 Wrestling podcasts. Got a lot of action to talk about on this Good Friday. WWE Friday Night Smackdown, AEW Rampage, Battle of the Belts 6. Not gonna waste any time, gonna get right into it. And we're gonna start things off with Friday Night Smackdown, live from Portland, Oregon. And we kick things off. We see the Brawling Brutes defeat Imperium in a 6-man tag. Ricochet defeats Ivar from the Viking Raiders. And they're on their own. Braun Strowman and Eric are not at ringside. Well, not on their own, because I forgot Ivar does have Valhalla in their corner, or his corner. And we see the King of Kings, the game, Triple H, and he says the WWE draft is coming in a few weeks. And he brings out the new Smackdown Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley, with the rest of Judgment Day. And next, tag team action, Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest taking on Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar, which I guess you can call the LWO now. Looks like no longer Delgado del Fantasma, since last week on SmackDown, just before the Hall of Fame ceremony, Rey Mysterio gave them all the LWO shirts, so it looks like they are now known as the Latino World Order. The LWO is back, and pretty good tag team match here. It is Judgment Day getting the win though. Damian Priest pins Santos Escobar. It's not officially announced yet, but it does look like they're going to have the tag team match. Dominic and Damian taking on Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny at Backlash. And in the back, earlier we actually saw Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens with their newly won tag team championships, and Sami Zayn says he has this feeling he needs to talk to Jey Uso. And then we see Sami Zayn try to talk some sense into Jey about the bloodline crumbling. He says his brother Jimmy isn't there. Paul Heyman lying to him. Roman's mad at him. Solo looked like he could have attacked him. And then while they are talking in the background, Kevin Owens is attacked by Solo Sikoa. And he will not be able to be in Sami Zayn's corner for the main event tonight, which is Sami Zayn versus main event Jey Uso. Jey gets the win with some help from his brother Solo Sikoa. And first, Jey acts like he's gonna stop Solo from attacking Sami. But then he joins in. He tells Solo what to do, has him go get a chair. And then at this time, it is Matt Riddle who returned on Raw last Monday. If you remember, it was Solo who took Matt Riddle out. So he comes to the ring, makes the save for Sami Zayn as Smackdown goes off the air. And that was tonight's episode of WWE Friday Night Smackdown on Fox. I thought it was a pretty good episode, to be honest. I don't know if I would go as far to say great, but still a pretty good episode. And I don't know who was booking this show, but this was the first SmackDown in a while. It didn't drag at all. Maybe it was just me, but this episode tonight felt like it went by pretty quick, which is unusual for WWE TV as of late. But pretty good episode of SmackDown tonight, I thought. And now let's go over to TNT for our first All Elite Wrestling show tonight. Rampage, live from Kingston, Rhode Island. Commentators Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, and Excalibur. In our first match for the FTW Championship, FTW rules. The cold-hearted, handsome devil Hook taking on All Ego Ethan Page. Pretty good match here, I thought. Of course, FTW rules, no DQs, false count anywhere. They have weapons involved. Hook gets the win with Red Rum. And then after the match, Hook hits Page with a T-bone suplex through the table that they had set up in the corner. And 8-man tag team action up next. The Acclaimed in 2.0. They get the victory, and it looks like they're on the same page. Lately, 2.0, Daddy Magic Matt Menard and Cool Hand Angelo Parker have been trying to recruit the Acclaimed to join the Jericho Appreciation Society. They're raising each other's arms, celebrating their victory, but then 2.0 and Jake Hager attack the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn, leave them laying. So that was just all a ruse where they were trying to get the Acclaimed in the JAS. Like Excalibur said on commentary, they just did that so they would let their guard down. And next, we have Lee Moriarty taking on Darby Allin. Another pretty good match. Darby gets the win with a coffin drop. And then, earlier in the night, we seen Swerve Strickland talking about a merger. The Mogul affiliates merging with somebody. And these two, Darby Allin and Swerve Strickland have a history from the Indies. They have a little bit of stare down on the stage at the entrance. And then we see Brian Cage come out, attack Darby Allin, give him the F10 on the stage, and Prince Nana makes his way to the ring. And then we find out that the Mogul affiliates are merging with the embassy. And people are saying that this is a dig at the WWE sale. And now we see Mark Henry, and it's time for the main event, as the world's strongest man would say. Anna JAS taking on, honoring the House of Black, Julia Hart. And I don't know about anybody else, but I've actually enjoyed this kind of little feud with these two, and they have a pretty good main event here, and Julia Hart gets Anna with the Black Miss small package for the win. And as Julia Hart is making her way up the ramp after her victory at the end of Rampage, goes off the air, and we head into AEW Battle of the Belts 6. As she is leaving, we get the entrance of the AEW International Champion, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, and the best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. And while they're making their entrance, she is giving them a look, staring them down. But she leaves, and now it is time to kick off Battle of the Belts with a match for the AEW International Championship. Orange Cassidy taking on Jericho. And good match. We see some interference from Rush and Jose, the assistant. Best friends take care of them. Orange Cassidy gets the win. And then the lights go out, and then we see the House of Black along with Julia Hart. And Buddy Matthews challenges Orange Cassidy to a match for the International Championship. And we will see that, I believe, next week on Dynamite. Also, next week on Dynamite, we find out that another match that will be taking place to get some revenge for the Elite, Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa, will be facing the Blackpool Combat Club. Next up, a match for the but first, sorry about that, skipped ahead on my notes a little. Lexi Nair is backstage with Mark Briscoe, and Jay Lethal comes in, talks about their history, how long they have known each other, and he says they need to work together. And Mark Briscoe thinks Jay Lethal is just talking about himself, and he agrees. He shakes his hand. But then, after we get Jeff Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt, and Saddam Singh come in, celebrating, thinking that Mark Briscoe wants to work with Triple J. But Mark Briscoe has this look on his face like that's not exactly what he signed up for. And now we have a match for the AEW TBS Championship. Jade Cargill defending against the 18-year-old star who's making a name for herself, Billy Starks. I've seen some of her work on the indies. Very impressed by her for such a young age. But it is Jade getting the win with Jaded to retain the TBS Championship. Jade Cargill now 55-0 in AEW. And then after the match, we see Taya Valkyrie make her way to the ring, and Jade exits. I didn't mention this, but before we had on Rampage, we had RJ City try to settle things between them backstage, but that did not work out. And once again, we see Mark Henry interview the two teams in the main event tonight, Lucha Brothers and QTV, and we hear it for the second time tonight. It looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. And for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, the Lucha Brothers take on QTV, QT Marshall, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Recently, Powerhouse Hobbs has victories over both Phoenix and Penta. So they do a good job telling the story of him beating both of them. The bigger man with two smaller competitors in there. And Alex gets a low blow from, I'm not sure if they said her name, but the lady that is a part of QTV, she hits him with a low blow, and it does look like for a moment that we might see new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, QTV, but the Lucha Brothers pull out a victory. Phoenix pins QT Marshall to retain the ROH World Tag Team Championships. Pretty good main event here on Battle of the Belts, I thought. Lucha Brothers retaining. And that was Battle of the Belts. So overall, I would say good night of pro wrestling. And if you missed either of the shows, Smackdown, Rampage, or BOTB, I recommend checking them out. Some good wrestling tonight. And that's about it for this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, episode 387. Thank you once again for everyone listening to this episode right here on Spreaker or wherever you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcasts. It is appreciated. Hope everyone has a great, happy, and safe Easter weekend. I'll be here. Not sure if I'll be doing any episodes of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Maybe. Who knows? Just stay tuned just in case. But I will be here tomorrow morning and Sunday morning for good morning wrestling fans. So definitely stay tuned for those. Until then, I am Lance. And I am a wrestling fanatic.